This year alone, more than 500 people have been killed as a result of mass shootings.
Yeah, if you found yourself in an active shooter situation, would you know what to do, how to react? Here's CBS 19's Andrea Martinez.
They say he entered the front office armed with an AK-47.
During a shooting rampage, it happened at a middle school.
A man kills 3 with a knife, shoots and kills 3 more.
We hear about them on the news.
Terror began at 12:33 p.m.
Shotgun shell on the ground. So assuming they have a shotgun.
Active shooters making their way into buildings.
Inside the grade school, a man with a gun losing his mind.
The workplace, movie theaters, schools, with one mission: to kill. But you don't have to comply, and you certainly don't have to die.
When you look at the studies, and I have some studies on Virginia Tech, Umpqua Community College, you look at what the people did in response, and they're usually compliant, they stay down, they do what the shooter says. It's pretty simple. It's run, hide, fight.
Mark Seguin is the founder and CEO of TBG. His company focuses on risk management training, which includes active shooter response. Mark starts by asking his trainees a simple question.
What have you been taught since you were 5? If you're engulfed in flames head to toe, what would you do?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Exactly. And you know what? It doesn't matter if I ask students that are 5 years old or, adults at a college. I ask the same question, they all answer the same way.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Y'all sound like a church choir. But then I flip that question and I'll ask you. Let's say we've got 15 seconds. We've heard a shooter in the hallway, he's headed this way. What do we do?
I have no idea.
Exactly. Every time I ask a group, it doesn't matter if there's 10 or 100 in the room, it's chaos, the answers, because everybody doesn't know, they're like, well, I don't know. It's like a deer in headlights. I sat there looking around.
Mark has taken his seminars to several institutions. We went to one at Tyler Junior College.
And a shooter's going to come through that door. What should we do? Go.
Run.
Everybody kind of sat there looking around. It's run, hide, fight. And the reason run is always my best option is because statistics show you're the most likely to survive an active shooter event if you're running, moving, getting around. If you look at the Virginia Tech shooting, the shooter shot 28 of his 31 victims with headshots because they were stationary. The goal is to not be stationary, not be in the same spot that he expects you to be.
Mark says if you can't run, hide.
But what if we want to get out of this building and I can't open this window and I can't go that way through the door because the shooter's there? Well, have I looked up? What if I go up? See, what people don't realize about their office, a lot of times you can push up on these panels. I could jump over into the other hallway and get out the exit over there. Let me ask you, you're in high heels and a dress. Would you be okay climbing up here, falling over that if we had a shooter behind us?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't even think twice.
Lastly, if you can't run or hide, then you've got to fight. Mark explains how using improvised weapons can buy you time to distract the shooter.
Just look at our office. So first of all, these are pretty heavy. Feel that.
Yes.
And if you were holding both of those, okay, and you're prepared, we know he's coming, and you already knew to prepare, I didn't have to tell you. I grab this and this, and we prepare. And the minute he comes through that door, we start throwing these things at him. You know what he's going to do? If I throw these directly at his face, he's going to go like this to protect himself.
A fire extinguisher, kept in most office buildings and schools, can be your weapon. Mark suggests buying a personal one.
So one of the things I recommend is that you get a fire extinguisher, have it under your desk, by the door, somewhere where it's accessible. Okay. This is a personal thing that you buy and you bring it to work. In case there's a fire, or in case somebody's coming through this door that you need to stop. I knew that there was a shooter about to come through a door. I would stand behind the door, I would have this pin already pulled out of this fire extinguisher, and as soon as he opened the door, I would have it in his face, unloading this fire extinguisher.
He says something as simple as canned food can also serve as a weapon. And that's what Mark teaches at his active shooter seminars. At TJC, students, faculty, and staff were put through a reenactment.
Shooter in the hall! Shooter in the hall!
When throwing those improvised weapons at the shooter, they served as distractions. Mark says anything to buy yourself, even just a few seconds. Or prevent the shooter from coming in. And in public places like buildings or movie theaters, Always be aware of your surroundings. Know where the exits are.
Andrea, this room here, you know, when you have an active shooter come into this building, you know, there's multiple doors they could come in. There's exits. I know where all the exits are in this building. And one of the keys is that we should, wherever we're at, whether we're temporarily visiting there or it's our office, we need to know exactly what are the escape routes. This particular room, we have lots of options because if a shooter comes in from any direction, we have a hallway there that will take us to an exit. This one takes us to an exit. That takes us to an exit. That over there takes us to an exit. And any of those two offices also takes us to an exit. So it's a matter of being aware of your environment. So many people don't know where to go because they never think about the what ifs.
So Mark says always have a plan, and if you can't run or hide, be ready to fight back.
And we have the best weapon on our side, the element of surprise, because the shooters expect us to be compliant and to do what they say.
If you've taken down a shooter, take their weapon away. Don't hold on to it.
You better get rid of that gun. Do not be holding that gun. If you took that gun away from that shooter and you think you're going to hold that shooter there with it, you can't, because the minute law enforcement comes around the corner, they're pulling the trigger because you look like the threat now. And there's no way for you to tell them you're not the threat, not when the gun's in your hand. So if you do take down a shooter, you better hold him down, tie him up, everybody piles on top of him, whatever you need to do, get rid of that gun, kick it out of your reach, put it in a trash can, put your hands up, spread your fingers. Law enforcement needs to feel at ease when they come around that corner because they're not at ease when they come into the building. And so I think it's being ready for that.
Whatever you have to do to survive.
If you're interested in learning more or attending one of Mark Seguin's seminars, just visit our website, cbs19.tv.
And you will also be able to watch all of this week's special reports online.